Today on this video, we are going to talk about how to build Bennett. So we're going to go through his best artifacts, best team comps, his best constellation, how good is his C6, is it bad or is it good, and his best weapons, his abilities. So let's get right into it. The first and foremost, the reason why you are using Bennett is because of his elemental burst. Bennett elemental burst is the main reason you are using him. This is the most important part of his kit is his elemental burst. In his elemental burst, Bennett gives attack bonus buff and healing. Now there's a catch. If you have a C0 Bennett, like let's say you don't have any constellation on Bennett, all right? So if you don't have any constellation on Bennett, if he will only give attack bonus buff to the entire team depending on how much HP you have on Bennett. So like say if you have less than 70% HP on Bennett, he will not give you attack buff. He will give you healing buff, but he will not give you attack buff. So keep that in mind. Regardless of a Bennett constellation, he is still a very solid character, but his C1 will remove the HP restriction. So if you get Bennett C1, he will remove the HP restriction. So it does not matter how much HP you have. He will always give you constant attack buff regardless of Bennett HP. So that is the reason why his constellation 1 is very important. So keep that in mind. So Bennett gives you attack bonus buff as well as it has an energy cost of 60 and has a cooldown of 15 seconds. So generally when you use Bennett elemental burst, he creates a field. And when while the characters around in that field will gain a huge attack bonus buff. And that attack bonus buff scales of Bennett base attack. So base attack, which means by leveling up Bennett to level 90 and on his fully upgraded weapon. So having a high base attack weapon like this. Alright, so that's how his elemental burst. I'm not going to talk about his elemental skill. His elemental skill is pretty niche. You can get it pretty niche and his normal attack. But yeah, we're gonna talk about his elemental skill. His elemental skill is basically is an explosion. Like if you hold it and you auto attack, it will create an explosion damage. All right, and it has a cooldown of 5-10 seconds, around 10 seconds. So you just hold it and you press and you release it, and it will create an explosion. So yeah, I mean, yeah, so that's what his elemental skill does. Bennett best weapons. So let's talk about Bennett best weapons. Bennett best weapon is basically depends on two factors. If you have Bennett who has a lot of energy recharge from the substats, if you have Bennett around 200 to 250 energy recharge, if you have on Bennett, then you can ideally go for a weapon like this. You can go for a weapon like this, which has high base attack. So having a high base attack on Bennett, like if having a high base attack on Bennett will gain you additional attack bonus buff. All right, so that is the reason why a lot of people use high base attack on Bennett, so they can gain additional attack buff, and that additional attack buff can buff your team and they will deal a lot of amount of damage. So keep that in mind. And the disadvantage of using low base attack is that you're going to lose out on that heavy base attack buff that you're gonna provide to your team. So that is why not a lot of people use base attack weapon on Bennett, low base attack weapon on Bennett. All right, So the weapons that I would recommend, if you have 200 to 250 energy recharge on your from the artifacts of your Bennett, then you can ideally go for a weapon like this, which has a base attack like free-to-play prototype ranker, or you can go for mist splitter, you can go for jade cutter, any weapon that has high base attack. I would say Apola Fabonia, Skyward Blade has high base attack, so you can ideally go for that. Go for those weapons. If you don't have don't have enough energy recharge from your substats, then I would recommend going for energy recharge main stat weapon like you can go for Paponius. It will give you particle. Any weapon that has energy recharge main stat, you can go for it. All right. Let's talk about Bennett artifacts. Bennett artifacts are his best and third artifacts are going to be 4-piece Noblesse Oblige. 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, the 2-piece set gives you elemental burst damage from 20 for 20%. His 4-piece when Bennett uses elemental burst, all party members will gain additional 20% attack buff for 12 seconds, so which is really insane. So I highly recommend using this 4-piece. The main stat of Bennett focus on I would ideally recommend using energy recharge because you want energy recharge, you want to spam that elemental burst and do constant healing and give constant attack buff to your party member. So I highly recommend going for energy recharge over anything else. All right. On your pyro damage, on your goblet you can use pyro damage, or you can either go for pyro damage or you can go for HP sand. On the circlet you can either go for a crit rate, either go for healing bonus. So there are three types of there are a lot of people build Bennett three types. Either they go for a DPS Bennett, like attack critical rate, critical damage. Either they go for an HP based Bennett, or either they go for a healing based Bennett. So which is better? It really depends. If you have a lot of energy recharge from your substats, like if you have energy recharge, if you have a lot of energy recharge like this over here and HP percentage, people usually ideally go for attack sand, a pyro damage bonus, and a crit rate. If you have energy recharge, a lot of energy recharge from your substat, then you can ideally go for that. So go for a damage dealer, or if you don't have enough energy recharge from the substats, then you can ideally go for energy recharge sand or a healing bonus or healing bonus build. All right. Let's talk about Bennett Constellation. Bennett Constellation is by far the best one is C1, because on Bennett's first Constellation it removes the HP restriction, so Bennett will always give the party member attack buff regardless of how HP Bennett has. His C2 basically gives him energy recharge when Bennett goes down below 70% HP, so it's a pretty decent one. Not that really good. It's not really impressive, but it's all right. His C3 and C5 gives increases talent level by 3%, which is pretty huge. I would say his C5 is pretty huge because his C5 increases his elemental burst level by 3%. So that is why his C5 is very important. So his C1 and C5 is really the best. All right. His C6. Well, his C6, so basically there's a misconception going on that a lot of people say his C6 is really bad. Let me just get right to the point. His C6 is Bennett C6 Constellation. So if you activate this Constellation, the one disadvantage you're gonna have is, I'm gonna explain it to you. Physical characters. So if you have Eula, for like say you have Eula, for like say you have Preeminent or Razor or any other character that you are going for a physical DPS, like if you like to use a physical DPS character, then it's going to be a disadvantage if you have C6 Bennett. So Bennett C6 what it does is basically when Bennett uses his elemental burst, it will infuse auto attacks of sword, claymore, or polearm character. So if you have sword, claymore, polearm characters who are really physical DPS, then they will not gain enough advantage of Bennett elemental burst, so they will lose out on the damage. So that is one huge advantage of Bennett elemental burst. Other than that, I don't think activating this will really going to change. It's going to really lower your other character damage. Like I said, you can Constellation is also really good, because if you have a character who are pyro characters, they will gain additional 15% pyro damage bonus. So if you have a pyro character that and if you have a C6 Bennett, and if you have a pyro character like D-Luke or any other character who are pyro element, they will gain 50% pyro damage. Like if you have Shangling, if you have any other like pyro sword character or any other pyro character, if they are sword, claymore, or polearm, only those three types of character, that if you're using with Bennett C6, then they will gain additional 50% pyro damage bonus. So there is one other advantage if you have C6 Bennett. So yeah. Bennett best team comp. Bennett best team comps. Well, Bennett, you can use Bennett with anyone. Like you can easily use him with anyone. He is very universal. That I will say. You can because Bennett is a very universal character. You can use him with anyone. So overall, what I think about Bennett, I think Bennett is a very one of the best support character in the game, and he has been used a lot by a lot of players over the globe in the Spiral Abyss, and he's one of the best characters. If you have a C0 Bennett, and if you want to go for his Constellation, I think this is the right time, because we are getting Bennett on the Red Shogun second phase banner. So if you have C0 Bennett, if you're a new player, then aim for getting his C1. If you get lucky, if you get his more Constellation, then that would be great for you. But ideally, your aim is to, if you have a C0 Bennett, try to get at least one copy of his C1, because that will remove the HP restriction, and you can always provide attack buff and healing buff to your team regardless of your HP. So you don't have to worry about HP at all. All right. So get his C1, and if you already have C1, and if you want to go for his C5, you can go for it. All right, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.